Good evening. We're here at Teen Valley Ranch in Plumtree, Ohio. I'm here with my junior hires for summer camp, and the sun's going down. It's about 8:20 at night, and that's a little apropos because we're going to be reading Psalm chapter 4, the Psalm of the Evening, as it's called. If you take a look in your Bible, you'll see your author, your translator there, may have written in italics an evening prayer of trust in God. That was added by the translator. However, underneath it, you should have a little subtitle there. And mine says, I'm reading from the NASB this evening, mine says, for the choir director on stringed instruments, a Psalm of David. And it's important as we read these Psalms that we read these little blurbs here. This is a Psalm of David, and this was set to be played to the stringed instruments. All these Psalms were set to be played to music, this one specifically for the stringed instruments. It's been pretty interesting. My boy Roger here, you can't see him, but he's behind the camera. He's brought his guitar up here, and we've been playing the guitar, and I've been singing the Hebrew Psalms in Hebrew, and it's been really cool because the Psalms are pretty rhythmic. They have words that you definitely see are connected throughout the lines. They rhyme. There's a meter there. It's pretty cool. So we're going to be reading this Psalm, not in Hebrew, in English. I have my Hebrew here, though, just to connect some words here and there for you. So we're going to start in verse 1. And here we go. Answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. What's your prayer tonight? In the evening, David has a prayer. And as a believer in Jesus Christ, as someone who is saved and washed in His blood, we now can come before the throne with boldness. We can make our prayers and supplications known. If you ever read John chapter 9, it says there very clearly that God does not hear the prayer of sinners. And in Isaiah chapter 1, God talks to the nation of Israel and says, I am not listening to your prayers. I don't even hear them. So oftentimes we hear people say there are 3 things that God says when you pray. Yes, no, or wait. Well, sometimes He doesn't even hear them. And right now David is saying, because I have been declared righteous by you, God, no one else, not by my own works, because our own works are as filthy rags, Isaiah 64:6. Because I am declared righteous by you, God, hear my prayer. That's the reason why we should expect God to hear our prayers, because we are declared righteous and are His children. You have relieved me in my distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. What is your prayer for the evening? We did something in the youth group where we put on note cards our prayer requests, and I was just talking to someone in the youth group, and they said the last 4 out of their 5 prayers have been answered. That's unbelievable. What's your prayer? I have many prayer requests, a lot of family situations, personal things, but I make those known before God, and I call out to Him as my Father. What is your prayer this evening? Call out to God. He'll hear you when you call and when you pray. Verse 2, O sons of men, how long will my glory, this is connected to chapter 3, become a reproach? How are you going to mock at my glory because of the Lord? How long will you love what is worthless and aim at deception? I got to tell you that I ask myself this same question. How long am I going to love my sin? How long am I going to love what is just meaningless and worthless and of no merit for the kingdom? This is connected to chapter 2 and chapter 1, where the ungodly and the scornful and the mockers, they do their own thing, and it's nothing for the glory of God. And in chapter 2, you have the nations will meditate how they can usurp God and His kingdom and His anointed one, the Messiah. And here in chapter 4, they're mocking again at David. They're mocking him. Now we have a Selah, a pause. Go to verse 3. But know that the Lord has set apart the godly man for Himself. You have been set apart and will continue to be set apart every day of your salvation. Progressive sanctification. You have been set apart, declared righteous, and now every day you are conforming more to the image of His Son Jesus Christ. And we are set apart. We are sanctified. We are holy. The Lord hears when I call Him. Read James chapter 5, verse 16. The prayer of the righteous man, the fervent prayer of the righteous man, is effectual. God hears it, and it's effectual. Chapter 4, verse 4. Tremble and do not sin. Again, this sounds like Isaiah chapter 1. Meditate in your heart upon your bed. Now look at this, don't miss this. And be still. And then look what comes right after that. A pause. Selah. I'm out here, it's going on 8:30, and you can hear the rain coming down. I'm getting hit a little bit by the raindrops, and you can hear the wind rustling through the leaves, and off in the background you can hear some music playing and the kids yelling. But right here, I'm by myself, except for Raj. And I'm just looking at God's creation, and I'm listening to the great sounds. And God sometimes just says, just stop talking and be still. And just hear from God. I challenge you tonight, when you're reading this psalm, and when you lay in your bed, the psalm of the evening, just be quiet. Right here it says, be still and then Selah. Be quiet. Take a pause. Hear from God. Hear from your God, your Father who loves you. Verse 5. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness. When you look in Isaiah chapter 1, they were offering sacrifices, but they were not righteous. God said, I'm tired of them. I don't need any more. I'm not honored by the blood of bulls and goats and rams. Stop offering them. Offer your sacrifices of righteousness. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Your bodies are living sacrifices. Offer them the right way. Give God a righteous sacrifice yourself. Tremble and stop sinning. Listen to God and offer yourself. And look what it says in the second part of verse 5, and trust in the Lord. That word trust there is betach, and we're going to see that word come into play at the end of this chapter. Trust not in yourself. Trust not in your friends. Trust not in your parents. Trust not in me. Trust not in anything else except for the Lord. The covenant name of God, Yahweh. You trust in Him, and something will happen. But you trust in anything else, and you're going to have demise, downfall. You trust in the Lord, and good things will happen. Verse 6. Many are saying, who will show us any good? Lift up the light of your countenance upon us, O Lord. You have put gladness in my heart, more than when their grain and new wine abound. Hey, as a believer in Jesus Christ, if you have been saved and sealed, you have a joy that the world does not have. No matter how much money they have, success they have, no matter girls, how pretty the other girls are, or guys, how stealthy the other guys are, you have a joy of the Lord that the world cannot match, no matter what they do. No matter, and here it says, if all their wine abounds and their food abounds, you still have a joy from the Lord. It is unmatched and unparalleled. Verse 8. In peace I will both lie down and sleep. Hey, I don't know about you, but when I get caught up in sin, and my conscience is acting up on me, I don't lie down and sleep. I toss and I turn, and there's no shalom there. There's no peace there. There's anxiety. There's unrest. There's turmoil. But when you put your faith in the Lord and you let Him deal with your problems, that's the whole point of this. Going to the Lord for your problems. Oh, Lord, hear my prayer. Hear my cry. You can go to bed in peace because God is going to fight your battles. And look what happens now, the very last part of this verse. For you alone, O Lord, covenant name, make me to dwell in safety. Guess which word that is? Betach. The same word for trust. And here's the principle. It's a play on words in Hebrew. When you betach, you trust in the Lord, you have the same kind of betach. You have the same kind of safety. When you put your trust in anything else, there is no safety. A man who puts his trust in money, especially during these days, has no safety. People are losing jobs like crazy. The market is crashing. When you put your trust in your looks or your knowledge, there's no safety there because you can lose those looks. You can lose that knowledge. You can lose a job. You can lose your athleticism. You can lose your whatever it may be. But when you put your trust in the eternal God who does not change, there is safety. And that's the principle. Hey, I got to get going. It's getting dark and I'm losing the daylight hours. And we have to go to chapel at 9 o'clock. And I'm going to be hanging out with my guys in the dorms. I'm going to try to lay in my bed in peace and quiet and safety. But you know junior high guys, they stay up all night. And next door to me are the junior high girls. So I'm not sure how much quiet and solitude I'm going to get. But you in your bed tonight, I'm challenging this one thing, and here's what I'm going to leave you with. Tonight in your bed, for the evening psalm, read this psalm, and just stay quiet. Just stay quiet and hear from the Lord. Good night, guys. I love you.